How far could you push a human body before it breaks and still keep going? This is your life as a Green Beret. Every rank, from the contract you sign at 19 to the apex of Special Forces. Every selection, every sacrifice. Here's what it really looks like.
You are 19 years old, and you sign your name on a line in a strip mall recruiting office. The pen feels heavier than it should. Outside, traffic crawls past a taco shop and a tire store. Inside, a sergeant slides a contract across the desk and taps the box that says 18 X-ray. That is the Special Forces enlistment option. It does not guarantee you a beret. It guarantees you a chance to suffer for one. You raise your right hand. You swear an oath to a constitution you have never fully read. Your pay is set at $1,400 every 2 weeks before taxes, the base pay of an E1, roughly $2,400 a month. Your mother cries in the parking lot. Your father shakes your hand and holds it 1 second too long. You do not understand yet what you are trading away. You are at the bottom. You are a private. You are a number in a system that has already decided most of you will not make it.
You learn the math before you ever feel a ruck strap. For every 4 men who start down this road, 3 will quit, break, or be sent away. The Army does not hide this from you. It tells you to your face, because the telling is part of the filter. You are not promised a Green Beret. You are promised the right to bleed for the chance at one. And even that chance has a price most men pay and walk away from with nothing. You arrive at Fort Moore in the dark. The bus doors hiss open, and a drill sergeant is already screaming before your boots touch the pavement. You learn to stand on a line. You learn to fold a t-shirt into a square. You learn that your name is gone, and your time is no longer yours. This is 1-station unit training, basic and infantry school fused into 14 weeks of mud. You low crawl under wire while blank rounds crack overhead. You qualify on the M4. You throw a live grenade and feel the concussion punch your chest. You ruck for the first time, a 35-pound pack grinding into your shoulders, and you decide you hate it.
You learn to run on 4 hours of sleep. You learn to eat in 90 seconds. You learn to clear a room, to bound and cover, to call out a sector of fire until it is reflex and not thought. You learn that the man beside you is the only thing that matters. You watch 3 recruits quit in the first week. They go home to warm beds and worried mothers. You stay. You do not know why. Something in you refuses to be the one who walks. You learn pain is information, not an emergency. You learn that blisters peel and heal and peel again, that feet toughen, that the body is a country you are slowly conquering. You learn the small religion of foot powder and dry socks. You learn to love the weight you hated, because the weight is the only thing that will carry you to the next door. You graduate. Your family drives 12 hours to watch you turn a beret in your hands that is not yet green. It is just a blue infantry cord and a photograph. But you stand a little taller. You are a soldier now. The easy part is over.
You fly to Fort Moore again, to a different field, and you climb a 34-foot tower. This is Airborne School. They teach you to fall out of a perfectly good aircraft and survive. You learn the parachute landing fall, balls of the feet, calf, thigh, buttock, push-up muscle. You repeat it 1,000 times in the sawdust until your body does it without your brain. You learn to exit a mock door, to count, to check your canopy. Then the day comes. You shuffle to the open door of a C-130 at 1,200 feet. The wind tears at your face. The green light flicks on. You jump. For 4 seconds, you are nothing but falling. Then the canopy snaps open and yanks you upright, and the entire state of Georgia spreads out beneath your boots, silent and green and impossibly far away.
You land hard. You roll. You stand. You have earned your jump wings, silver against your chest, and an extra $150 a month in jump pay. You feel, for one afternoon, invincible. You have no idea what is coming for you. You report to Fort Bragg, now Fort Liberty, to a place soldiers speak about in lowered voices. Special Forces Assessment and Selection. 24 days. They do not call it training. They call it selection. The difference matters. Nobody is here to teach you. They are here to find out who you already are. You are handed a rucksack and told it will never weigh less than 45 pounds. And that is before water, before food, before the radio and the sandbags they will add to break you. Your number is written on your helmet and your chest. You have no name. You have no rank that matters. You are a candidate, and most candidates fail.
You ruck in the dark across the sandhills of North Carolina. 6 miles, 10 miles, 15 miles. The cadre never tell you the distance. They never tell you the time standard. They just say go, and you go. And the not knowing is the point. You learn that the worst pain is uncertainty. You learn to keep moving toward a finish line you cannot see. You navigate alone through pine forest at 3 in the morning with a map and a compass and a lensatic azimuth, and one wrong bearing costs you miles you do not have. 24% of the men who fail wash out right here on land navigation, lost in the dark. You learn that the body quits long after the mind does. You learn that nobody is coming to save you. You suffer through team events that have no solution. You carry a telephone pole with 6 exhausted strangers. You drag a weighted sled across sand. You haul a truck tire in a jerry can and a length of steel pipe across an open field while the sun cooks the back of your neck. The cadre watch and write on clipboards and say nothing. You learn they are not grading your strength. They are grading whether you are a man others would follow into a country with no friends and no extraction.
You learn that they are watching for the moment you stop helping the team and start saving yourself. That is the moment they are paid to catch. A peer evaluation can end you here as surely as a torn knee. 1 in 7 of the men who fail are failed by the men beside them, the ones who looked over and decided they would not want you in the hole with them when it mattered. You learn that other people's opinion of you is, in this place, a test you cannot study for. On the final day, they line you up and read numbers. 56% of the class is already gone, quit or injured or never selected. You stand at attention. They read your number. Selected. You feel no joy. You feel only the dull awareness that selection was the door, not the house. You begin the Special Forces Qualification Course, the Q course. 1 to 2 years of your life, depending on your language. They tell you on the first day that for enlisted candidates, the attrition is brutal, that across selection and the Q course combined, roughly 3 of every 4 who started will never wear the beret. You look left. You look right. You do the math on the men beside you. You choose your specialty. You become one of 4 kinds of Green Beret. The 18 Bravo, the weapons sergeant, who can field strip and fire the rifle of every army on Earth. The 18 Charlie, the engineer, who builds bridges and drops them, who knows demolitions and landmines and the architecture of destruction. The 18 Delta, the medical sergeant, who can run a trauma bay in a mud hut, deliver a baby, suture a wound, and keep a man alive for days with no hospital. The 18 Echo, the communications sergeant, who can reach a satellite from a cave with wire and patience. You learn until your eyes bleed. You learn anatomy and antennas and explosives and the cyclic rate of foreign machine guns. You learn how to teach, because the entire job is teaching, and a man who cannot make another man understand him is useless here, no matter how fast he runs. You learn that a Green Beret is not built to kick down doors. He is built to walk into a village, drink the tea, learn the language, and turn 12 farmers into a fighting force. That is unconventional warfare. That is the actual job. You learn the history of your own tribe. You learn that the Green Beret was once banned, then worn anyway,
then made official by a president who understood that some wars are won by the man who can sit on a dirt floor and earn a stranger's loyalty. You learn that this is the oldest special operations force the modern army has, and that everything you do carries the weight of the men who did it before you and did not come home.
You spend 24 weeks learning a language the army assigns you. Arabic, Pashto, Korean, Tagalog. You sit in a cinder block classroom and conjugate verbs until the words follow you into your dreams. You will deploy to people who have never met an American who could speak to them. You learn that your mouth is a weapon as much as your hands. Somewhere in here, your relationship ends. She could not do another year of you being gone, of you being a number, of phone calls that drop and weekends that vanish. You read the message in a barracks hallway, and you put the phone in your pocket, and you walk back to class, because the only thing the Q course will not let you do is stop. This is the cost they never print on the contract. They send you to SEER school, survival, evasion, resistance, escape. They teach you to live off a landscape that wants you dead, to evade a hunting force, to endure a simulated captivity that men do not talk about afterward. You learn what you are when everything comfortable is stripped away. You learn that you are more than you feared and less than you hoped, and that both of those are survivable. You learn the code of conduct, not as words on a laminated card, but as a thing your body believes. You learn how little it takes to break a man and how much it takes to put him back together. You come out the far side quieter. The men who knew you before notice it and say nothing, because they came out quieter too, and there is no word for the room you have all now stood inside. Then comes Robin Sage. You parachute into the fictional country of Pineland, 20-odd counties of rural North Carolina, where civilian volunteers play a guerrilla nation in revolt. For 4 weeks, you live the entire job. You make contact with a resistance leader who does not trust you. You earn his trust or you fail. You eat what he gives you. You build a rapport, a plan, a war. You learn that the rifle is the last tool, not the first. You learn that respect is the mission. You sleep in the cold woods and run patrols against role players and aggressor forces, and the whole time you are being graded on whether 12 strangers in a foreign land would believe in you. It is the strangest, most human final exam in the entire military. You pass. You walk across a stage at Fort Liberty, and a senior soldier sets a green beret on your head with his own hands. They flash it to you, they call it. You earn the long tab on your shoulder. You are now Special Forces, die Oppresso Liber, to free the oppressed. The motto is 2,000 years old, and it is now yours. Your family is in the crowd. Your father, older now, finds you afterward and cannot speak. You think of the strip mall recruiting office 3 years ago. You think of the man who signed that line, who did not know what it would take. You would not recognize him now. You were assigned to an Operational Detachment Alpha, an ODA, the A-Team. 12 men, no more, the smallest and oldest unit of its kind, and you are the youngest one in the room. 2 weapons sergeants, 2 engineers, 2 medics, 2 communication sergeants, a team sergeant, a warrant officer, a captain. Each of you can do the other man's job in a pinch. That is the genius of it. 12 men who together can do the work of a battalion. You draw a special duty assignment pay now, roughly $375 a month on top of your base, plus your jump pay, plus language pay if you keep your skills sharp. You are an E5 or an E6, making maybe $4,000 a month before pays. You are not rich. You never will be. You did not come for the money. Nobody who lasts ever does. You deploy. The places do not make the news, or they make it for one bad day and then vanish. You live in compounds you build yourself. You train soldiers whose names you learn and whose funerals you sometimes attend. You drink the tea. You learn the local insults and the local jokes. You become, for a year at a time, a guest in someone else's war. You learn that the 12 of you are alone in a way most soldiers never are. No wire, no big base,
No quick reaction force an hour out. Just the team, the locals you have chosen to trust, and a radio that has to reach a satellite. You learn that the engineer's demolitions and the medic's surgical kit and the communication sergeant's antenna are not job descriptions. They are the difference between a team that comes home and one that does not. You learn that cross-training was never a formality. Any one of you may have to be all of you before the year is out.
You learn the deployment tempo will eat your 20s. 6 months gone, a few months home, gone again. You miss a wedding. You miss a funeral. You miss the first steps of a child you barely know. You learn that the quiet professional is quiet at home too, because there is no language for what you have seen, and the people who love you most have no map for where you have been. You lose a man, not in a movie, in a moment. One of the 12, one of the men who could do your job and you could do his, and then he cannot do anything anymore. You carry his ruck to the bird. You write the letter. You go back to work the next morning because the mission does not pause for grief, and you learn to fold the loss into a small square and put it somewhere you can stand to keep it. The years pass. You make staff sergeant. You make sergeant first class. The younger men start calling you by the role and not the name. You are no longer the youngest in the room. You are the one they watch to know whether to be afraid.
You become the team sergeant, the 18 Zulu, the operations sergeant, an E8, a master sergeant, the senior enlisted man on the ODA, and the most experienced Green Beret on the team. The captain commands. You run the team. Everyone knows the difference. You are responsible for 11 men now, for the plan and the kit and the lives. You are the one who tells a 19-year-old version of yourself that the ruck is supposed to hurt. You are the institutional memory of an entire detachment. You carry every deployment you have survived in the lines on your face. You have stopped counting the funerals. You have started counting the ones you kept alive. You learn that leadership is not louder, it is quieter. You learn to make the call that gets everyone home and to live with the calls that did not. You earn your master sergeant pay, comfortably over $6,000 a month now with your special Ks, and you would trade a chunk of it for the time you did not get with your family. You learn that money was never the wound. Time was.
Some of you go further. You apply to become a warrant officer, the 180 Alpha, the assistant detachment commander. You trade the team sergeant role for a different kind of mastery, a technical expert chosen from the best enlisted operators, a Green Beret who will advise commanders and run detachments for the rest of a long career. You are no longer just the most experienced man on one team. You are the man other teams send for. Or you climb the enlisted ladder to its apex. You become a sergeant major. You stand at the right hand of a battalion or group commander. You shape the standards that the next 19-year-old in the strip mall recruiting office will one day have to meet. You become the keeper of the thing itself, the living definition of what a Green Beret is supposed to be. You are in your 40s now. Your knees are a museum of every jump and every ruck, every hard landing logged in the cartilage that no longer grows back. Your back keeps the record of 1,000 rucks. You wake before the alarm out of habit you can no longer break. You stand in a formation of young men with the same fire you had, and you see how few of them know what is coming. And you say nothing, because the not knowing was always the point.
You think back to the bottom, to 19, to the pen that felt too heavy, to the taco shop across the street, and the contract with the box marked 18 X-ray. You think of the 3 out of 4 who did not make it, the woman who could not wait, the man whose ruck you carried to the bird. You think of every identity you shed to become this one. You earned the beret. You earned the tab. You earned the right to be called a quiet professional. And you learned that the quiet was never about humility. It was about all the things you can never say. You are the oppressed made free,
and the free made permanently apart. You gave a country your 20s, your marriage, your knees, your friends, and you would do it again. That is the part no one believes until they have lived it. A new bus pulls up to a dark parking lot at Fort Moore. The doors hiss open. A drill sergeant is already screaming. A 19-year-old steps off with a duffel bag and no idea. And somewhere, a sergeant in a strip mall office is sliding a contract across a desk and tapping the box marked 18 X-ray.
The cycle continues. If you lived every rank of this one, tell us in the comments which world you want to inhabit next. Subscribe to your POV HQ because the next life is already loading. We will see you at level 1.